People, welcome to the second edition of the frustrations in Void Linux. In the first part, I covered two errors. One was about Dolphin, that whenever I would open the window, it will throw me an error reading could not enter folder tags. The fix was very easy. There was one command called baloo-ctl space purge, and it fixed the problem. The second issue I was having back then, it was with Steam, that my game would launch. I was able to hear the sound effects and music, but the game video would not simply appear. And the fix was to go to the game properties within the Steam, and then force one particular compatibility layer, and that solved the problem. It was the end of the first part, and in the second part, this one, I'll be talking about remaining problems. Primarily, I will focus on the monitors. Just to make it easy, printer, I could not find sources to compile. I did find Debian and RPM packages for the printer version or the model I have, but then I don't know how to convert this into XBPS package manager. Anyhow, for the time being, I parked the problem. I will use Windows for printing purposes. So let's get into this dual monitor thing I'm trying to brag about. So first of all, this video or whatever I'm going to show may not be relevant for the people who are using single source of output. For example, if they are using only the graphics card to attach all the monitors they want, then they might not be having the issue. The problem comes when someone tries to do something like this. So my idea was to attach my secondary monitor to the integrated graphics because I don't use it for heavy purposes, and use my primary monitor attached to the graphics card because that's the one I use for gaming and everything else. And so before that, I made a silly mistake because some of the wiring on my table is concealed. So I oversighted the cables and I connected my secondary monitor to the graphics card and the primary monitor to the integrated graphics. What was happening that when I saw that my primary monitor is acting as the secondary monitor, so I was trying different configurations using Google to find solutions, and whatever I found, I was trying to force Xrender to flip my monitors. It was connected to the wrong port, right? And so there was some configuration issues, some cabling issues, and on top of that, I was trying to play games on high settings. So the problem was like I was not getting enough FPS. They were very, very low to what I knew, and sometimes the game will freeze, it will crash, and in some cases my operating system will freeze as a whole. So it was adding to my frustrations. For a while I stopped, and then one day out of the blue moon I decided to pull out all the cables and reattach them, and only then I found that what blunder I had done. So as soon as I fixed the orientation of cables, my secondary monitor was attached to the integrated graphics, primary monitor to the graphics card or the discrete graphic, then everything was smooth. All I had to do is to remove my garbage configurations and add clean configurations from zero. So this video, in this one, I'll primarily talk about the dual monitor setup if somebody needs to do something like I have done. This snippet that you see on the left side is simply copied verbatim from NVIDIA website. There is no brainer. So in this one, just to give you a brief overview, so we are telling the system that there is one device called NVIDIA, and then there is another device called Intel, and the driver here is the NVIDIA driver, here is the mode setting or Intel driver, and then we're telling one of the screens will be attached to NVIDIA and the other one will be attached to the Intel. Now to the most part, like 99%, as you can see, this snippet has to be copied pasted as is, and we only need to change one bus ID in this section only. And getting the bus ID is very simple. We'll open up terminal, we'll type a command lspci, which is list all PCI devices, then we filter the keyword VGA to get the relevant output only, and then from there we can know that we have a PCI device. It is 1 like here, so the first 0 is ignored, then these two become 1 0, and this is the final 0. Sorry. So this configuration is saved into this directory etc x11 zorg.conf. Now with the configuration part done, now all we need to do is to tell xrender to use the output source, which is Intel, as you can see, mode setting here, and NVIDIA graphics. And then we tell xrender to automatically assign the screens, because we have everything in there in the configuration, so we don't really need to specify which monitor goes to which output, right? Now there's only one thing, that these xrender commands are session specific, which means that as soon as you restart your PC, you will have to enter these commands once again. So they are not permanent. In order to make them permanent, we can make a simple script that is like the file you see here. We just need to tell the system that is a bash script, and the file name should be like, could be whatever, but at the end it should have .sh, and that will be like a script in the eyes of the system. After doing this in the text editor, we just need to save it and assign permissions. We can go to properties using mouse clicks, or we can use gmod command. And the last step, we need to add the script in the auto start. Once this was done, I simply restarted my PC, and then I was able to use meta key or the Windows key with the P key to select any orientation I want. Normally I use this one because I am only using one monitor, which is my primary monitor, but when I'm gaming I can take any of these. So in my case I take this one. Alright, so with the discussion out of the way, let's do the steps very quickly. My video is getting longer. I prefer to keep it short, so I'll go really fast, but these are the same steps that I have spoken about in the presentation. So the first thing, the configuration, I found it on the NVIDIA website using Google, of course, and this is the exact config you saw in the presentation. The only thing I changed was the bus ID. And in fact, this page is telling us where this configuration has to be saved, and then it is talking about the xrender commands that have to be run to set up the monitors, and then it is telling us that these commands are not persistent, so we need to add them as a startup script. The method they're talking about here is xinit, but you can use anything else of your choice. So what I did back when I was trying to solve my problem, first of all I created a blank file using touch command like so, or I can also copy the path from the website here. It's the same thing, right? So anyways, after creating the blank file, I used a text editor, and as you can see, my text editor is that's the text editor is the same configuration, and the only difference here is the bus ID. To find the bus ID, we'll go back to the terminal, and what I did is to use lspci command. It was like this, so I wanted to filter the output, so I used pipe grep the filter and then VG as a keyword. So the first line is irrelevant, we will ignore it. I'll just take the ID from here, so 01 becomes 0, 00 is 0, and the last 0 of course is 0, so I know my address is PCI:1:0:0, and that's the exact thing I got in my config. So after doing this, the second step that I have here is the xrender commands. We'll just copy these like so, and then we can go to text editor. So there, these are copied there. So first of all, we need to tell the system that it is a bash script, so it can be executed. We'll just use this bin and bash, remove the dollar signs, and then combine these two using ampersand twice. Just save it anywhere. Yeah, so I'm saving in the home directory, and then the name is test sh, saved, and then we'll go to the file manager. There we have test. We'll go to properties, then make it permissions. In the permission, make it executable. Press OK, and one and last final step is to go add this into auto start. So we'll go to auto start. There it's already there from the previous one, but what we need to do is to add login script and then go to Accenture dual monitors. So that's it. Thanks for watching the video. I hope it helps some people in staying along with the Void Linux. Have a nice weekend.